Well, hello friends. Thank you for joining us today. I'm in Craig, Colorado, and it's 50 degrees here. In fact, I looked at the weather and it looked like tonight it's supposed to get down to freezing, but we're leaving here today, heading west. But today I want to talk to you about salt. Now, in Matthew chapter 5 through 7 is what we know as the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus sharing this sermon with his disciples and those that are gathered around him. And in chapter 5, verses 13 to 16, he mentions two things that the believers should be. That is salt and light. Now, when we think of salt, we know that salt does a lot of things and there's a lot of usages of salt. But I just want to remind you of three and kind of spiritualize it, what I believe that Jesus was wanting us to be. Number one, salt brings season or flavor. And I believe as a Christian, we need to bring flavor to our culture. We need to season our culture. We need to make our culture better, make it feel better and taste better. You see, that's why it's so important that we as Christians live according to the Word of God and be true Christians. And that is that we can bring life and bring a change and a difference to our culture, make it taste better. Secondly, it preserves. And I believe that as a believer and as a Christian, that we should preserve the morals and the laws and rules of God. We in our churches need to hold true and hold fast to the laws of God. There's a lot of churches and a lot of places of worship around the world and around our nation that are not doing that. They've strayed from the Word of God. But true Christianity, and I believe what Jesus is telling us, that we need to preserve the reality of Christ and the words of God, the Word of God in our midst and in our churches. And thirdly, it heals. It heals. And if there's ever a day that people need healing, our culture needs healing, it's the day in which we live in. And I believe as a believer, as a Christian, we can heal people both mentally, emotionally, and physically, spiritually. We bring healing. And so, my friends, I encourage you today as we walk through life. If you're serving God, we've got a responsibility to be the salt of the earth. You know, a byproduct of salt, when you eat salt, it makes you thirsty. And I believe that if we live right, the culture around us will be thirsty to receive what we have. And to this afternoon, we're going to be in Salt Lake City, Utah. And in that city, there's a great salt lake. And many tourists go to visit that great salt lake. Friends, I believe that if we are truly the salt of the earth that God's called us to be, that people will be drawn to Christ through our life. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.